Hi guys, so I wanted to talk to you today about raid tokens and what impact they're going to have on the game, what we originally thought they were going to be, what they actually are now, what they do, how you can get them, how you can deal with them, and all of my predictions for how they're going to impact Armada moving forward. So, brief history lesson, we kind of got a little bit of we kind of got half of the description of raid tokens from some of the preview articles that have come out. And originally, all it told us was that when you have a raid token of a certain command, your ship can no longer do that command. And that's it. They didn't give us the rest of the story. So everybody thought that initially that meant that totally locked that ship down from ever doing that command again. And people were speculating, is there a way to remove them? What are we going to do? How can you get rid of them? So Wave 7 is I got a review copy of Wave 7. It's actually coming out, in about 2 weeks or so. That's the estimated street date, so that looks great. We now know exactly what they do. So let's take a look. The raid tokens are described here. So some upgrade cards in this expansion. This applies to both the Chimera and the Profundity. Refer to raid tokens. While a ship has a raid token, it cannot resolve the command matching that raid token. So that much we had. That much we knew already. But here's what we didn't have. Here's the rest. It's this part right here. When a ship with a raid token reveals a command dial, it may discard that dial to discard all of its raid tokens. So if you've got all four, no problem. I guess I'm not doing that command anyway, so I might as well discard it. And that's the thing. You're never going to find yourself in a position where, I'm not going to discard the dial. I'm just going to keep the command and fail to do it. I just can't see any situation that you would do that. So rather than shutting you down completely, it's more like they just slow you down for this turn. There's an or here. It may discard a command token to discard a matching raid token. So in the event that you're loaded up with tokens, let's say they're showing a concentrate fire right here, but let's use nav, right? A lot of times people will do nav first turn, bank a token, and then later on, they want to do nav again, because they want to get the yaw and the better benefit from it. Well, let's say right before you do that, somebody hits you with a raid token for nav. Can't do it. Well, when you reveal your dial, it's nav. Instead of discarding the dial, I'll just spend the token, get rid of my nav token. Now I can actually do the nav command from the dial, get the speed and the yaw, get the full effect. So that much is good. Same thing could go for squadrons, or concentrate fire or whatever. In that case, these tokens are really just serving as a slowdown, as a hindrance, forcing you to prepare for them, perhaps by having something to give out extra tokens or give out extra command tokens. It also says that a ship cannot have more than one raid token of each type, so you're capped at 4. And that seems reasonable. You wouldn't want to load somebody up with a whole bunch of stuff, but even if you did, they would just spend the dial and get rid of it. So there are 4 different types, and they match the command pretty much. It's just the inverse. Instead of white and black, it's black and white. So you've got the nav, you've got the squadron, you've got the concentrate fire, and you've got engineering. No problem. And you're going to get all these with both of the Wave 7 expansions. So you're going to get these in the Chimera. You're going to get these in the Profundity, and that's great. So how can you get them? What is going to assign these to ships? Because it says you can get them. How do you get them? Well, each faction has a way. So for the Rebels have Jyn Erso. Jyn Erso is one of the boarding parties, right? She's taking up offensive retrofit and the weapons team. So we've seen boarding parties before. Some of them are really good. Some of them are a little underwhelming. Initially, Jyn Erso looked really good because we thought these were completely crippling. And this is basically just forcing somebody to spend their dial. So if you hit with Jyn Erso, that means that ship next turn is probably going to have to spend its dial to just get rid of its raid tokens. Unless, of course, you're just playing fast and loose and doing completely different commands all the time, and then they have to really guess. And that may be something that happens. But more often than not, I think if somebody actually hits you with Jyn Erso, you're going to probably just spend your next command dial and get rid of all of your raid tokens. Because you're going to have 2 of them. And, might as well just get rid of all of them. Unless, of course, you're loaded up with tokens, and then you just get rid of the one you need, and then go about your business. Move along. The Empire has actually 2 ways. It's still one way, but it's kind of 2 ways. And that's the Gauntlet Fighters, because you're getting 2 gauntlets with the Chimera expansion. But one of them is named Gar Saxon. Gar Saxon also has Assault a slightly better chance to be able to use it. He's the ace. He's got better dice. He's got an extra keyword or an extra ability, so he gets to do more stuff. He gets to harass intel and relay. I really like Gar Saxon, and he's not even that much more expensive. But you've also got the Gauntlet Fighter. So if you, let's say you just wanted to swarm people with assault tokens, initially I was worried because I was afraid, well, what if you wanted to run like 6 Gauntlet Fighters or something like that? There's just no reasonable scenario in which I think you'd want to do that. I don't think these tokens are strong enough, and this ship isn't awesome enough. Like, Rogue is good, but it doesn't have Bomber, so those blue dice, you probably do 1 damage on average. You might do 0 damage, you might do 2, but you probably won't. You might do your 1 damage, and then if you trigger Assault from it, then you're not doing any damage. So you're going to actually probably have more damage potential out of TIE fighters. Or, not potential. Potential is not the right word there. You're probably going to have more average damage being inflicted from TIE fighters than here. And all this is going to do is stop people from doing that engineer command or that concentrate fire. But it won't even really stop them. Because these tokens, I think we all thought they were going to have a huge impact on the game. And I think they're going to actually have a much smaller impact on the game. As far as their impact, I think we might see a slight increase in some commanders that we haven't really used in a while. Garmbel Iblis has always been, in my opinion, the worst commander in the game. And this is one of those things that's going to make him a little better. We're seeing more of an emphasis on command tokens. Grand Moff Tarkin, I think, was great at the, I think he's still usable. He's just too expensive for what he gives you. But now there's something better. So, like, if somebody does give you some raid tokens, now at the beginning, okay, let's see, what do we have? Okay, boom, we need this. Got it. You can make sure that you get what you need with him. And if raid tokens become a thing that's harassing you, you have one answer for them right here. But this isn't a complete buff to these guys. I don't think it's a complete buff to it because there are already so many other ways to get tokens. There's other ways to get tokens in Wave 7. But, I mean, as simple as a flotilla with CommsNet, that's like the simplest way to do it. And it's also a very flexible way, plus gives you an extra deployment, plus it gives you an extra activation. So, I mean, that's probably the thing people are going to keep doing. So it's going to, so maybe you hit, you hit the flotilla with the CommsNet. That may be something that you do to give them the raid tokens. But I think this is going to be one of those things that is about as effective as Slicer Tools. We all thought maybe Slicer Tools was going to be crazy, and it ended up like not getting used all that much. And I think that's what's going to happen with these. I don't think the Gauntlet Fighters, outside of Gar Saxon, I think he will definitely see some play. But I don't think the generic Gauntlet Fighters will get used all that much. I don't think Jyn Erso will get used all that much. Will still get used, but it's not like they're going to run wild on the meta. What I think they're going to be is I think they're going to be kind of like a pocket card that people will kind of sit on for a while, and then just when people get used to Wave 7, then somebody will like show up with it, and like when you're not expecting it. So it'll be just something that's out there in the game just to keep people on their toes. Like, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. It'll get to where nobody expects raid tokens to show up in Worlds, and all of a sudden, boom, somebody makes it into the top 8, and because their opponents weren't expecting raid tokens, so it really throw people off their game. I think that might be something that happens, but I don't think that they're going to run wild. I don't think they're going to be super effective. I think they're going to be a nuisance, and that could be enough to just distract people and kind of play mind games with your opponent, or just slow them down a little bit. And I think that's definitely what it's going to do. I do think that there's one other benefit, or one other maybe less obvious mechanic or advantage to a different commander, and that's Thrawn. I think actually Thrawn gets a bonus out of this. Let's say, for example, you do face somebody who's giving out lots of raid tokens, whether it's a mirror match, Empire versus Empire, or Empire versus Rebel. You have your ship, let's say it's your carrier or whatever, and you're facing a build that has a lot of raid tokens and has a lot of raid token potential. Well, you now Thrawn can be a pretty good counter for this, because if let's say I'm a bomber fleet, a heavy carrier bomber fleet, and probably the type of fleet, trying to activate lots of squadrons, lots of carriers, quasars, you name it. And let's say that's the thing. Well, my biggest weakness in that case would be, or a big weakness would be getting bombarded, with those raid tokens. Well, all I have to do in this case is have Thrawn queue up 3 squadron activations, and then have all my ship dials do completely different things. And maybe even do a squadron first round just so I can bank a token for the heck of it. But now, all I have to do is, I'll reveal my command dial, spend that, get rid of all of the tokens, and then, use the Thrawn. That'll give me at least 3 solid turns of squadron activations. Probably not going to need to do squadron activations first turn, and if I take it slow, I won't have to do it second turn either. So it's so you can make sure that you have them guaranteed for turns 3, 4, and 5. And the game, sometimes some games are over by turn 5. Actually, a good number of games. I'd say like maybe half of the games that are played go to turn 6, and maybe the other half are done or effectively over before turn 6. Rough estimation based on playing for a while. It might be different, in different local metas and stuff. But I think Thrawn can be a really good counter because he's giving you the ability to use your own dial just to cancel all of your raid tokens, and then use his dial to actually be the command. Like if you're only going to get one command, you need to give Thrawn the most important ones, because there's now it seems like there's really no way to stop the Thrawn command, because you can always use your ship's own dial to get rid of all the raid tokens. And so, I think that's about it. I don't think they're going to have that big of an effect on the meta, and I think it makes somebody like Thrawn that much better, because he would be a good defense for it. But even if you don't have it, it doesn't mean that he's wasted, because he still gives you now 2 commands per ship. So like the plan always was, and you'll be able to determine that when you're looking at your opponent's fleet. So it's about as simple as that. So I don't think raid tokens are going to have a huge impact on the game. I think there's plenty of other things in Wave 7, activation-wise, deployment-wise, that are really going to, turn the game on its head. I think Radis is going to do it. I think the Strategic Advisor is gonna do a lot for that. A lot of the large ship-only stuff, Price, and Bail Organa. I think those are the big meta impact cards, and I don't think it's the raid tokens. I think they're less impactful, and they're just there to provide a little flavor, some variation, some unexpected stuff, a little salt and pepper, or for everything else. And then the raid tokens will be like the Tabasco sauce that you don't want to put on everything, but every once in a while you're in the mood for it. So that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I am still running the giveaway. I'm going to try to get a winner announced for that very soon, so stay tuned for that. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Only thing you need to do to enter the latest giveaway is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.